Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for three. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome on into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you. We are into the thick of BYU football season. Fall camp in full swing, week 1, coming to a close today. And we'll be having a lot of breakdown of fall camp week 1 here on the program over the next 3 hours. We'll have player interviews, a lot of insight, a lot of sound, a lot of commentary on this quarterback battle for BYU football. We'll also have just a lot of breakdown of BYU football here over the next 3 hours.
This is what we wait for all summer long, Mitch, to break down actual football, actual clips. We were both there all week long observing. I don't know. What do you think we got? About 40 minutes this week? 24
minutes yesterday. 13 minutes was the total on day 1. So 37 minutes, about 40 minutes, close to that, to observe this BYU football team in the 2025 edition. So we'll break it all down here over the next 3 hours. But we got to start things off in the starting lineup with some big news here on the program today.
The starting lineup. A look at the stories making headlines right now. It's time for the starting lineup on Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's been a wild ride for BYU sports over the last, 5-6 years. The tide has turned, I feel like, during Cougar Sports Saturday. Since June 8th, 2019, Matt and I began hosting this show together. And ever since, we've been holding it down on this program. Again, that's been more than 6 years ago. We've been holding it down every Saturday, noon to 3, here on Cougar Sports Saturday. But, Matt, there is going to be a change, and you made the announcement on social media. Give us an update for all of our listeners of the new direction for you and your exciting career.
It's a bittersweet day, Mitch. It really is. At various times, even now, man, I'm getting a little emotional because it's meant so much to me. But last time on Cougar Sports Saturday today, I'm going to be heading over with Greg Wrubell, Jason Shepard, and BYU Radio, helping out their pre- and post-game and doing some play-by-play when they are, have other obligations. So it was my childhood dream to be a sports broadcaster, and this first step at KSL has really helped me kind of fulfill that. I'm surprised I'm emotional here, Mitch, but it's meant a lot to cover BYU sports with you. I'm obviously excited for the next step. And being a part of the BYU game day coverage, that's I grew up going to games at LaVell Edwards Stadium and the Marriott Center, as did you. So I'm sure you feel the same way when you came here. It's a dream come true to be a part of BYU sports in any capacity. And, I'm lucky and privileged that the dream continues, but I will miss being on these airwaves, the legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio, breaking down the news every single week with you. So thank you. Let's have a fun 3 hours.
Yeah, let's have a good 3 hours, Matt. I appreciate that, man, and we are so happy for you, and we'll have some more kind of looking back on memory lane and over the next 3 hours, because you've been a huge piece to this show. I mean, I think this show, when we started it, it's always been a good place, but I feel like it's been taken to new heights and levels, just like BYU sports. Like, we've seen it all, where BYU was wallowing through independence. We navigated COVID, and like I said, we'll talk more about it, but we're happy for you, Matt, and congrats on that. I know Cougar Nation is going to be excited, and they're going to be excited to hear you on some exciting calls and broadcast, and they're going to still hear you on these airwaves too, coming up this fall and in the years to come. So we're happy for you, and we're excited for everything that's going to be coming your way in the future. And like I said, we'll talk more, kind of going down memory lane with this show here over the next couple hours as well. But like you said, let's talk some BYU football.
Yes.
BYU Football Fall Camp. The quarterback battle is the hot topic, Matt. I'm curious to get your thoughts on what you think of this battle and how it's, sizing up in your vantage point, like what direction BYU should go, because I think all of Cougar Nation wants to know who's going to be that QB1 in 2025.
I didn't get a sense of anyone being in the lead after the first week of fall camp. There were highs and lows from all three. I thought yesterday, which was day 3, second day that media could be there, but day 3 of practice, it was exclusively red zone work that the media saw. I thought Trayson Bourguet was a clear-cut winner of that period of practice. That has no bearing on what happened before that, so we don't know who was the star before the media showed up. But I thought he had the throw of the day on a beautiful fade corner out to Chase Roberts. And I thought, too, a sneaky underrated moment of the media observation period, Mitch, was the underneath route to Carson Ryan. That's a hard throw. It's not far in distance, but that is a hard throw. And he nailed Carson Ryan, heading away from him, exactly where it needed to be thrown for him to run and get yards after the catch. And at times, those intermediate throws have been off from all of them. There was a throw on day 1 where Bear had a similar throw, but it was behind. I thought it might have been JoJo. It was behind JoJo. It was a completion, but you got to be accurate on those throws. And I thought day 3, Trayson was the winner. Day 1, you can make the case that Bear was the winner. And McKay's had moments too. I think McKay has been the most consistently accurate from what I've seen, but he's also had the least amount of big plays. He hasn't really moved the ball as much as the other ones in the 39 minutes or whatever the number is that we've seen. So keep that in mind. This is a very small sample size that we're commenting on here, but I walk away from the first week saying there's no front runner yet. And when A-Rod yesterday said we need to give them more time, I think he's right, because all of them have had highs and lows. What about you, Mitch?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that day 1, I came away impressed with Bear Bachmeier. Now, Bear I thought was the best quarterback in day 1 in that media period that we saw, because he had the best throw. That was a completion to Chase Roberts. I thought that was a great ball. He was just very calm, poised, collected in that pocket. I thought he looked really good there. But there were also moments, too, in that day 1 where I thought he was the best QB, where he maybe held on for just a little bit too long. And there's moments to, it was kind of like the full true freshman experience. I'm with you, too, on day 3, where I thought Trayson Bourguet was really awesome. And I take into account, too, that during the first 2 periods that we've got to watch, days 1 and 3, we didn't get to see anything from day 2. Bourguet and Bachmeier have been the 2 quarterbacks that have been running with the first-team offensive line. McKay Hillstead's accuracy has shown up, but it's also always been with the second-team offensive line, too. Like, we just haven't seen him get any first-team reps with the offense yet. But, it's a fascinating quarterback battle, Matt, because this debate is just so unique in really BYU football history, where you've got a position change in the middle of the summer, and you'll hear coming up a little bit later from Jake Retzlaff. He actually publicly spoke on his experience and time at BYU. Some interesting commentary from Jake down at Tulane. But, you lose Jake, and now you go to 3 quarterbacks who have never played it down at BYU. They're all transfers. None of them are homegrown high school guys. And it just feels like, it could go any direction here. And I think there's an argument for all 3. I guess the big feeling I have is just I don't know if any one of these 3 guys deliver a 10-win season for BYU, but I do believe they're good enough to get BYU in a position where they could be an 8, maybe 9-win team. And if you get a few bounces go your way, then maybe suddenly you're talking 10, 11 wins. But it's just a fascinating battle that I agree with Roderick that we need more time to really learn about these guys. I think everyone's trying to learn everything they can about these 3 quarterbacks.
I think the other takeaway to piggyback off that is everyone around the quarterback room passes the eye test. I think you look at the defense, they are loaded. They are big. They are physical. They are fast. They have a lot of versatility and a lot of options. And then offensively, I love the talent around the quarterback room. There could not be, in my opinion, outside of maybe walking into the Georgia Bulldogs starting job or maybe replacing Quinn Ewers if you're Arch Manning and all the talent that the Longhorns have, there has not been a better position that a first-time starting quarterback has had at BYU in a long, long time. There's been some talented teams. I'm not saying all the other guys were walking into no talent, but there's not a weakness. Carson Ryan is living up to the hype. The offensive line is big and talented, and Andrew Gentry looks healthy and legit.
Yeah, he
the
does.
running back room, L.J. Martin looks fantastic, and Sione Moa, he's poised for a big year. I mean, there's really no holes in the roster, and that is a luxury for whoever is going to win this job to go in and know that I don't have to do some of the stuff that Taysom Hill was asked to do. I could just come in, move the chains, run the offense, keep the turnovers low, and if you do that, you're going to have a chance to win. Now, last year, there was a lot of games, Mitch, where the ball went their way, and they won those games. And that may not happen this year, where they're on the wrong side of a fake punt by Jalen Daniels, and maybe that happens a couple more times, and then the record's not great. But this is a team, you will not see a blowout with this team. I think they will be in a lot of games, and it's just been apparent being around the program these last 2 days that they have really stacked up the depth. They have gotten better in the weight room, and this is a good football team. Now, unfortunately, in football, a lot of it rides on the quarterback, man, and it's a big question mark, but whoever it is, they got some talent around them.
Let's hear from these quarterbacks next. We'll play some sound from fall camp as we listen to Trayson Bourget, McKay Hillstead, and Bear Bachmeier. Let's get to know these quarterbacks as we take a break here on Cougar Sports Saturday, and it's powered by KSL Sports.
Welcome back in. Cougar Sports Saturday, breaking down the first week of fall camp. Myself and Mitch Harper. We heard from all three quarterbacks on day number 1. Let's get you some sound from the three guys vying to be the starting quarterback. Who should we start off with, Mitch?
Let's go with Trayson Bourget. He was the first quarterback that we saw to open up fall camp. Let's go with the former Western Michigan transfer, and he feels very comfortable in this BYU offense.
I'm very comfortable. This is the most confident and comfortable I've been in a system my whole career. I mean, coming from freshman year in high school, throughout my senior year in high school, I had a different offense every single year. Then going to college, I was at Western Michigan for 2 years, 2 different coaches. Then here last year, so that's my third offense in college. So now it's finally having some continuity in my offense, and feel super confident, got good timing down with the receivers, and just ready to work.
I thought that was a great comment from Trayson, and well-spoken guy.
Yep.
I was talking about this week. It's to me, the quarterback, how they handle the media and their interviews, I don't put much stock into it in battles for cornerback, for linebacker, safety, whatever it is. Any position that's not quarterback. To me, there's some, I don't think the coaches make this factor, but it plays a role to me. Like, how do you carry yourself as a quarterback? Trayson Bourget's a well-spoken guy.
Well-spoken dude, and I think BYU fans are going to like how Trayson Bourget spent his offseason.
I worked out with a lot of the receivers each and every week, trying to get our timing down, and obviously didn't get much reps with them my first year here. And then, Coach John Beck, awesome, 3D QB, definitely got some work in with him over this summer, and just trying to figure everything out mechanically, just nail it all in, dial it up, and get ready for camp.
He was dialed up yesterday. He looked great in what we saw in the media observation period. Let's move on to the sensational freshman, the wonder kid, Bear Bachmeier, number 47, built like a tank. This is what Bear had to say about learning BYU's offensive playbook.
I was fortunate to be at Stanford and got to experience college football and obviously learn from a great offensive mind, and so coming over to Coach A-Rod's, obviously there's a lot of complexity in a lot of offenses, and so getting acclimated to the terminology, but you find ways to kind of simplify the game and simplify the playbook, and kind of just play free when you're out there.
That's significant because learning the playbook is going to be key. I had a interview with Jaron Hall this week, and Jaron kind of revisited his quarterback battle, and he said that Aaron Roderick did not lay out any sort of metrics or pieces that determine the quarterback battle, but the biggest thing was you better know the playbook, and you better know it as well as me and the quarterback coach. So that, to me, on the surface, would seem like the biggest challenge for Bear Bachmeier, but we've all heard about how smart he is, how just really gifted that family is on and off the field. That's, to me, going to be the biggest challenge. We'll hear more from Aaron Roderick about if Bear Bachmeier's up to speed or not with that playbook. But, people are going to ask, Why is he wearing number 47? This is in the words of Bear.
Me and my dad joke around. I used to play running back when I was younger, or when I started playing football. And then when I made the transition to quarterback, I just kept the number. And I continued to play actually middle linebacker up until 8th grade. So I don't know, I like the number and kind of brings you back to like your primitive nature, I guess, when you're playing. So it's cool.
He's physical, man. Are you trending towards seeing a situation where Bear could be that QB1 against Portland State 4 weeks from today?
Still have a hard time seeing it, even though he's very clearly getting equal reps after 1 week. But, man, just doesn't sound like a recipe for a successful year. A guy who joined you in the summer and is getting up to speed quickly, that is hard. But if anyone can do it, you'd like to think that, someone as smart as Bear and as physically gifted. And I think that's one of the most important components to Bear's game, Mitch, is he is a big guy. He will be, if he's struggling to get to his second and third reads, he can take off and make a play. I will also say this. He really won me over when he admitted that he has been bonding with his teammates over Settlers of Catan. I love that game, man. I love Catan. So when I was like, hey, can I get an invite to this tournament? I'm ready to get the competitive juices flowing. So good stuff from Bear.
It was good, and we'll have more from both those guys. And, of course, McKay Hillstead, too. And let's just call it what it is. And it was good to get it out there. The piece on McKay Hillstead, when you bring up his name, instantly it becomes a debate about his height. Well, he addressed that head on about his height and how he can still play at a high level.
It's how I've been my whole life, really, So I think obviously there's, just things that I've figured out, and I see it the way I see it, and, it doesn't slow me down, because obviously I can't just grow automatically. I can't choose that, right? It's out of my control. So I think really just, figuring out the game how I have up to this point all throughout high school at Utah State and now here, and just, being confident in my ability, which I am, and just going out there and trying to win.
McKay Hillstead was a baller in high school at Sky Ridge, and he's such a gifted athlete. I remember when he was a sophomore in high school, I remember there was a spring practice at BYU, and this undersized guy was working out, slinging the rock, and I'm like, who is this guy? I mean, he just seemed really young, and he was, and he's just letting it rip, and sure enough, it was McKay Hillstead. He was getting in some work at the IPF, and then fast forward all these years, he's probably still the same height that he was back then, but he's an athlete, and we talked about it earlier. His accuracy has been pretty on point. There was a play yesterday, though, where it did feel like his height became amplified a bit because he had a pass batted down at the line of scrimmage by Ace Kafusi, and if he was 6'2", 6'3", the prototypical quarterback heights, and I use air quotes because I don't think there should be any sort of boxes that quarterbacks or positions are placed in, but it got batted down. It was an emphatic bat down by Ace Kafusi, and that's where you go, ooh, is that something that is concern when it comes to evaluating McKay Hillstead and looking at his potential to be QB1 week in, week out?
Here's what McKay said about where he's improved up until now, where he's competing for that starting job.
I mean, for me, it was just, getting reps and just experience with the guys. Obviously, coming from a different offense at Utah State, we were RPO heavy, and not that we don't do that here. It's just a little bit more pro style. So just figuring some of those things out and getting versed in some of that stuff and mastery of the offense has been big for me.
He did say that he feels like he's a master of the playbook, which is, to your point with Jaron Hall earlier in the week on Cougar Tracks, that's a prerequisite to the job. So the good news is all these guys are very smart guys.
And I would add, too, that it almost felt like they were all campaigning to win Cougar Nation over a little bit.
Yeah, good for them.
Absolutely. Like, if even if maybe you're 3/4 the way to mastering it, just say you're mastering it because you're campaigning. Like, that's your lens, your chance to audition to Cougar fans and win them over. Because unlike other quarterback battles, Matt, I think this one, Cougar Nation's kind of open to who could be the guy. Like,
absolutely.
I don't think there's any favorite among Cougar fans who they want right now. They want to learn more about these guys.
And I think they want to win. And maybe at the end of the day, that's going to be the number one piece to who wins this job, is who's going to be the best person to help them win right now. Let's take a break. News, traffic, and weather coming your way. More football talk next.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for three. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte with you. BYU Football Fall Camp rolls on. We're 4 weeks away from BYU football kicking off the 2025 season against the Portland State Vikings. Kickoff for that one's at 6 o'clock, pregame at 4, and Cougar Sports Saturday will get things started at high noon here on KSL News Radio. And yesterday at practice at fall camp, Aaron Roderick spoke with the media and primarily, I think, myself. Now looking at it, no, that's I look back and I asked a lot of questions. But
Great.
Here was Aaron Roderick and some of the commentary that he had after day 3 of BYU fall camp. What has been your initial assessment through 3 days?
We're giving equal reps to 3 guys, and you guys know who the 3 are, and they're doing a good job. It's too soon to, try to measure any separation or anything like that. I think we need to give everybody more opportunities before we start to try to make any kind of decisions. It's going to be a minute.
What did Bear show you in summer that said he warrants being in a 3-man race with guys that have been in the program already?
It wasn't really about summer. It's just what he was in high school, and just how quickly he's been able to learn. He's very smart, very, very smart, and so he's up to speed. He needs reps as far as chemistry with his teammates, but in terms of knowing what to do, he's been dialed every play.
Hung is not on the roster today. Can you update us on what his status is?
Yeah, the only thing I can say about that is has some personal issues and not going to be with us this year.
Will you be getting Hinckley Rapati back?
Hope so. Yeah, we're waiting. We've appealed to the NCAA for another year, and from what I know about it, I believe that he should get another year from what I know about the case, but I don't know if that will happen or not. We're waiting. We would love to have him back, and I want to point out what a critical player he was for us last year. And we won 11 games, and he was a huge part of our success, and we would love to have him back.
Is the appeal centered around medical year or the JUCO?
It's a variety of things. Yeah, it's mostly. I don't want to go into all the details, but you guys know he had a variety of injuries. He's a junior college guy. You've got the COVID year involved in there too, so we're hopeful.
How's your offensive line looking so far? I know that you finally put the pads on today, so probably get your first real look.
Good, yeah. Today was the first day in pads, but we feel like we have depth there, and we should be able to run the ball.
Gentry and Jada are kind of the 2 guys at tackle. Have they been what you expected them to be?
So far, yeah. I expect those 2 to be our starting tackles, Gentry at right and Jada at left, and I have a lot of confidence in both of them. Yeah.
You're no stranger to structuring quarterback battles, but how challenging was this when you have your whole outlook of the position change in the summer?
Well, it's always a challenge, but I've been through this enough times. I hope that people will have some confidence that we can get this done. We've done it before, and we have a good process that we go through to basically what we're going to do is we're going to work through it, and the whole team's going to watch it happen. And so whenever that starter is named, everybody on the team will be we'll know, oh yeah, of course, we just watched it happen on the field. And so we'll just keep working our way through it, just as we've done in the past with Jaron and Baylor, Zach and Jaron and Baylor, etc. Right? We've been through this before last year with Gary and Jake, and we'll do it again.
We saw a pick from Bear today, and then a pick from Tracy on day 1. How are they handling taking care of the football and turnover? What's that number?
Good. The one Bear had was kind of silly because we asked him not to scramble today. He's just a tiny bit, just a little something that we're like, hey, don't scramble. He's taken every rep, he's practiced, and he kind of should have just held on to the ball and kind of jogged his scramble. So that's a good lesson for a freshman. But taking care of the football is number one. That's number one job.
How is Bear coming along with the playbook?
As I already mentioned, he's brilliant. I mean, he's very smart, and he knows the whole offense already. he needs chemistry and reps with his teammates, with his receivers, with the pass protections, but he knows what to do every play, and he has shown that. His assignment-wise, he is very sharp.
How does Tiger fit in so far?
Doing a great job. Tiger's going to play for us a lot. He's a good player, really good player. Yeah, he'll be an important player on this team.
Way to declare which one's smarter, because I know that they've had their own debate.
Yeah, I mean, well, Tiger graduated from Stanford in 2.5 years, speaks Chinese, flies airplanes. What else does he do? I mean, he's that guy. They're interesting.
What's the status of Whaley? We haven't seen him in action in the media windows.
He's dealing with a minor thing. We're just being really careful with him because Waylon's going to start for us, and so we're just trying to be super smart. It's nothing major.
And just to follow up on that, how are you, guys that are proven commodities like a Chase and LJ and Waylon, do you have that luxury to kind of sideline them? But with that quarterback battle, do you want that chemistry? How are you juggling that?
Yeah, good question. It's a fine line, with your proven players. That's why we're holding Waylon right now. We know who Waylon is, and we know what he's going to do for us this year, and so we want to get him enough reps to be sharp, but keep him healthy. And same thing with Chase Roberts and LJ and some of our proven guys. So if you hold them back too much, then they get rusty. But you have to also be smart and get to the first game as healthy as you can.
Great stuff there from BYU offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick. Any takeaways from his commentary, Matt?
Him really praising Bear Bachmeier, I think, is noteworthy for sure, because there could have been a scenario in which Bear comes in and is just clearly behind.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to be the case. I thought that was really, really interesting. And his commentary on the interception from Bear, I thought was some interesting context. I don't think that interception, there's much to make of it. He would have been sacked in a game, or he would have run. See what you can get away with in practice. You got picked off by Tanner Wall. Oh, well, whatever. Yeah, I don't think it was that big of a deal, but he was very complimentary of Bear. And then I just think his approach, as we heard at the end of that clip, is the right approach with guys like LJ and Chase. If this season's going to go down in flames, it's going to be because injuries hit your best players. And no disrespect to any of the quarterbacks, but the best players on the offense are Chase Roberts, LJ Martin, probably Andrew Gentry, Isaiah Jada, Carson Ryan, Bruce Mitchell. You can't afford injuries to these guys that are proven. So I really like that approach where we're giving them some work, but at the same time, we got to get them to game days. And we need to remember this too. In terms of the quarterback battle and season preparation, they have a cakewalk opener. Yes. They can work out some kinks against Portland State. So get to the Portland State game healthy, identify a starter, and then that can be maybe a trial and error situation to get some things ironed out from a chemistry perspective. So they don't have a hard game until East Carolina.
Yeah, and even East Carolina, they should win.
Yes.
I mean, BYU, even with the change at quarterback, they really should start 5-0. They really should.
Yes.
They should take care of business and beat Colorado.
It's funny hearing that from you, though, because you've been the Mr. Prime guy.
Well,
I'm the one saying they should beat Colorado.
Well, if I'm going to pick a loss, I would say maybe that one.
Over West Virginia?
Yes, because West Virginia at home, I think with West Virginia, too, that I like that Nico Martial. I think he'll be solid for the Mountaineers, and I think Rich Rod's going to be good. But I always like BYU at home in games and at weeknights, and I just feel like BYU will just perform well in that spot against West Virginia, whereas the Colorado game, I think that one, could be a loss. And I think Caden Salter's pretty good. I'm projecting that he would be the starter, the former Liberty transfer. They could go with a true freshman, too. It could be a game with two true freshman quarterbacks in Juju Lewis and maybe Bear Bachmeier. But, the schedule is set up to start out really strong, 5-0. If we think that this BYU team is as good personnel-wise around the quarterback as we think, they should start 5-0.
Yep.
But, if a quarterback throws 4 picks.
6-0, right? Because then you're going to Tucson. That's not going to be anything difficult.
I guess I just always get a little leery of road games. That's just kind of all that is. I think, BYU should beat Arizona too. I'm not buying into Noah Fafita having a monster bounce back. I think they'll be better with Seth Doege as the offensive coordinator, but I still think BYU should have a great chance to be undefeated against Utah. But I'm willing to also just say, hey, maybe they don't always get 2 or 3 takeaways a game.
Right.
Maybe they don't have a punt return. It's not that BYU was lucky. They were very opportunistic. They generated those moments. I guess can't assume that'll happen. If they're forced to go 80 yards every single drive, that's tough. So I guess, with that, all that is that BYU, this quarterback, whoever it ends up being, has got a great chance to have success. And I also think, too, the confidence that Aaron Roderick has in selecting a quarterback, that should give Cougar fans some optimism, too, that this thing will work out okay, because Kalani and A-Rod have done a nice job when it comes to these quarterback debates.
No doubt about it. And they're doing a nice job with Jake before he went to Tulane. We actually heard from Jake, Mitch. I think BYU fans will want to hear what the former and, in a different alternative multiverse, maybe he's still the quarterback at BYU, but here was Jake Retzlaff down at Tulane after a practice. He got asked about BYU. Here was his commentary about the Cougs.
See, Coach Sataki the other day was very complimentary of you and your journey and going forward. Did you see that? Did you have any reaction to his?
I've talked to Coach Kalani a lot. He's not just a coach to me. He's a real mentor, a true friend. He's a loved one in my eyes. He's family. That guy, I have so much respect for that. I've actually getting to know him and Summerall. They are actually so similar in their coaching styles and what they do, and so it's really cool. You got the Utah version of Summerall over there, and so that's another thing that made Summerall so appealing to me is a lot of the same virtues and the same things that guide this program are so similar over there, and so that's what helped. Coach Kalani and honestly that entire staff over there, that's family. That is what it is. The circumstances were the circumstances are, and I left, I told those guys I left. I was like, any one of you call me anytime, I'll pick up. I don't care what I'm doing, I'll pick up no matter what. Those are my brothers over there till the end, and they all know that. And so I'm excited to see their future and see their success. I've talked to those guys and said, I'm watching you guys. I guarantee you, if I got a chance, after one of our games to throw on a BYU game, I will, because we always play early games, right? And they play all 8-15 kicks. And so, I'm excited to watch them play. I'm excited to watch whatever quarterback gets out of that quarterback battle to lead those guys down that team. I got a lot of love for that program over there at BYU. It was an amazing place. It made me an amazing human being. I feel like it helped me grow in so many ways on and especially off the field. It helped me connect stronger with my faith than ever before, because I was in a place where it was so faith-oriented that it was just right in front of you and a law of attraction. If you're talking about thinking about it, you're going to grow in that way. And so it was an incredible experience in that fact where, when you're in junior college, you're worried about playing football and getting to the next level. It was so easy for me to put Judaism on a back burner, and for me to be able to go to a place like that said, no, this is going to be a huge part of your life, honestly, whether you like it or not. And I was like, well, I love it, let's do it. And so that place was transformative for me. Like I said, I got family there. It's a family place. I'm so much rooting for their success. I can't wait to see what they do. But at the same time, like I said, I am where my feet are, and I'm excited to bring this program, and win a lot of ball games this year.
Jake, give me a major difference between Provo, Utah, and New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh my gosh! I stepped into a different world, a different galaxy. This is polar opposite. Provo, I'm used to those big, beautiful mountains, walking out to practice every day. We got that big, beautiful sun and the humidity. I'm soaked right now. I haven't sweat this much in my life. That's been a little bit of a difference. I've never actually worn a wristband on my throwing arm, and I didn't even know why people did it. Truthfully, until I talked to one of my quarterback coaches coming out. He's like, yeah, you're gonna end up with one of those wristbands. Well, it's day 3 and I got my wristband. So the sweatband, it's been great though. But it's a fun adjustment for sure. I wish, honestly, I was here sooner and had a little more time to go around, look around a little bit. I did have the opportunity to be here for the Super Bowl, so I was here for that weekend and got to experience the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So that was a cool deal. But I'm excited to be at the city, and I hear from everybody there's a lot of support in this football team, and so I'm excited to embrace that.
Good stuff from Jake. I think it was nice to hear him speak highly of BYU, because I think most BYU fans, if not all, all is maybe a bit too optimistic, but I think the majority of BYU fans wish him well, want him to remain a positive part of BYU football. He did lead them to an 11-2 year. the BYU Jew storyline was fun, and it was great to see the Jewish faith and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints faith come together and, open some doors. I thought that was really cool, and I like that he had that moment, that commentary to just, bring to the surface good positive feelings.
Well said. I mean, for him, he could have easily gone scorched earth and just said, I hate the place. I don't want anything to do with it. I can't stand that place. They did me wrong.
Yep.
They gave up on me. Like, really, I mean, he could have done that, but he didn't, and he then highlighted the faith aspect and how it brought him closer to his faith. And I thought that was just cool because I think for fan bases that aren't familiar with BYU, we've heard it all. Like,
yes.
We've heard all the stereotypes on social media, on
Yep.
message boards, in person. We go to these venues, and it's just like, you want to drink a Sprite? Like, just these cliche things. And but I think what they don't realize is that BYU wants people from all walks of life to go to BYU.
Yeah,
like they don't want just
100%
one type of person to come to their campus.
Right.
They want this to be a place that's open to all. And yes, there's an honor code, and it matters a ton to BYU, and they're not going to sacrifice their standards for what your standards of the world are. And I think that's what makes BYU BYU. But I thought that commentary was just cool to hear a Jewish quarterback that was from Southern California, probably never in his wildest dreams would have envisioned going to BYU, but that place had a special impact on him. And I think, I keep pointing to this, but like I want to see a reunion in 2034. Like LaVell Stadium, 10-year anniversary, honor those guys, because that's the breakthrough team in the Big 12.
Yep.
That's a team, like, they're not 84, they're not 1996, but man, that's one of the great teams in BYU football history. And
Yes.
He quarterbacked that team, and he gave them the breakthrough and the confidence. And without that season, do you get Ryder Lions? Do you get all these hot shot recruits? Because he gave them the proof of concept, and he led that team. So he should hold a place in BYU lore for that. And I'm glad that relationship on the surface, and I don't know what they feel behind closed doors, but on the surface, they're saying all the right things to where it feels like it's still in a good place, that one day, hey, maybe there could be a reunion and he gets his flowers one day at LES.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty cool.
Well said, Mitch. Let's take a break. Let's get to Jay Hill and his thoughts on the defense next. Welcome back in. It's Cougar Sports Saturday. Breaking down week 1 of fall camp. It was an eventful week for sure. We got some good takeaways. We've heard from Aaron Roderick. We might have to bump Jay Hill. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time. We had to hear from Jake Retzlaff. So if you missed any of hour number 1, we'll put it up on the podcast feed. Any other overarching thoughts from week 1, Mitch, on fall camp?
I think the defensive tackle position has got to improve as far as the depth. I don't know how you improve it. You can't add personnel, but Justin Kirkland, defensive tackle from Oklahoma State, transferred in. He's banged up with a knee. And Jay Hill was not – he was kind of dancing around a potential timeline for return. That's concerning. And because Kirkland, I think, was expected to do big things, to be right there with Keanu Tanavasa, and now it goes to Keanu Tanavasa, John Taumaipeau. I think they're fine. I think those two could be good, but then you probably, as Jay Hill referenced, you probably go to more of an odd front. And they did a lot of that last year. They did a lot of odd front. And honestly, when you think about it, it's like you look at the strength at linebacker, throw in Kafusi, or go to another defensive back with all the safeties you've got.
Yep.
So it can work out, but I think they felt like they'd maybe be a little bit farther ahead at defensive tackle. I can't help but think the loss of someone like a Josh Singh, who was playing pretty well in spring ball, he goes to Vanderbilt. That was a little bit bigger of a loss than maybe we realized.
Right.
Luke Tuamalatai suffered an injury in spring. He's not on the roster anymore, so that's a loss. So there's just been some quiet things that have happened in that spot to where it's not as strong and deep as maybe you thought you'd be. Hopefully Kirkland can get back in short order because they need him.
And speaking of knees, this has nothing to do with the current team, but Reiner Swanson was attending day 3, and he was on crutches and had a brace on his left knee. Imagine there, you can only draw one conclusion from that: injury on the mission.
Yeah,
he was wearing his tag still, but kind of interesting to see Reiner there.
Yeah, it was. Elder Swanson was there, and
yeah.
I did say, I said, "Hey, Elder, how you doing?" And Godspeed, Elder Swanson. Like, that dude's a stud. And I was thinking to myself when I saw him, I'm like, man, Reiner Swanson, Brock Harris, that's tight ends, I mean, in the future. And look, you've got Kean Need, the current tight ends. He's a pretty good blocker. I think he can pair him up with Carson Ryan. There's some promising guys in the pipeline, I think, at tight end. I think Tucker Kelleher has been someone that's getting some snaps, more the second, third team offense. Jacob Nye, we haven't seen him much yet. He's a true freshman who just joined a month ago. But
Zundel, we've seen a bit.
That's a good pull. Will Zundel's had some flashes both in B-roll footage and in person. Number 32, a walk-on. BYU, hopefully they get that position going again where it's a threat in the receiving game. That's what it needs to be.
Yeah, well said. We've gotten glimpses of that with Carson Ryan, which I think has been encouraging through the first week. It's got to materialize in the game. We can't be having 8 catches for the season. I'd love to get the thing north of at least 30. I mean, that even seems low from some of the great tight end performances.
Yeah, Carson Ryan has to be a big piece for BYU in the receiving game this year. Let's take a break. Hour number 2 coming up next. Tanner Wall. Matt caught up with him next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for 3. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Hour number 2 is off and running here on Cougar Sports Saturday. If you missed it earlier, final show for our guy Matt Baiamonte. Final show. Matt's going to be going on to BYU Broadcasting after this, and he's going to have some play-by-play and studio work opportunities. Going to be a lot of fun, and you'll still hear him on KSL News Radio, I'd imagine. But this is our last show here on Cougar Sports Saturday together. We're having a lot of fun talking some Cougar sports as we always do, and we'll kind of look back on memory lane over the last 6 years between Matt and I a little bit later in the show. But right now, Matt, you had a conversation with a really talented football player on the back end of the defense.
Yeah, Tanner Wall had an interception on day 3, picked off Bear Bachmeier in the red zone, and his rise has really been impressive. There's a lot of talented dudes in the safety room, but Tanner Wall remains. Here's my conversation with Tanner Wall.
Tanner, football is back.
Sir.
How does it feel?
Oh, it's so good. We had a great off season and just stoked to be back out here with the boys. Excited to be flying around playing some football again. Best time of the year.
It really is the best time of the year. You mentioned the off season. Was it challenging with all of the drama and the storylines, or did it feel just like another off season for you guys?
Honestly, I feel like we were able to really focus on the work that we put in with our strength conditioning staff. I think they did an exceptional job this offseason, and our team did a really good job staying focused and not getting distracted by some of the things that were going on. And I think we accomplished what we hoped to, and are in a great spot.
This might be a premature question because there's a lot of camp left and then the season. But how do you think this team is equipped to handle that adversity?
I think we're extremely equipped. I think one of the things about our team is just how tight-knit we are and our brotherhood. So, we are obviously going to have a quarterback battle at that position throughout camp. And, whoever comes out on top and they run out of the tunnel knowing they're going to start game 1, we're all going to be behind him and know that he earned that. So I think we're in a great spot, and we're excited to see our teammates compete and go out there and win games.
What have you seen from those 3 guys, not necessarily here on day 1, but throughout the summer in their preparation for this battle?
They work extremely hard, right? I think something that speaks to their level of effort is I don't think that their focus has even changed. I think even when they were backup quarterbacks for us here, they were still doing everything they could to, be the guy, win the job, and get as good as they possibly could be. And so they're in a similar spot now where they're just trying to come out here and lead and kind of command the offense and help us drive the ball down the field and and they've been doing a great job doing that. And all summer they were with the receivers, throwing, doing all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, they've been doing a great job.
We're talking with safety Tanner Wall here after day one of BYU Fall Camp. Safety room, there's a lot of experience and a lot of talent. What have you seen in the summer and to start this fall camp from the guys in the safety room?
Yeah, no, we had a great summer. I think if you look at the data and some of the stats from our strength and conditioning staff and kind of what they track across all the position groups, I think we definitely stood out as far as our numbers and data go. So Coach Hill was, pleased with how hard we worked this summer. And, he mentioned to us today how, we've got 6 guys in the room who've played in games and meaningful minutes. So it's really going to be competing and who's going to rise to the top and, really earn that right to be out there for a majority of the snaps. So we're excited to have that battle.
What has he indicated to you guys will be differentiating factors in determining how many snaps are played from that group?
At the end of the day, the biggest thing that it comes down to is being a playmaker, right? Guys who make plays, guys who are around the ball, guys who communicate and are given exceptional effort all the time. At our position, being a great tackler, being the eraser is huge. You got to be able to show up in tough spots and make plays to erase, big runs or things like that. So, and then also just leadership and being able to command the defense and be the quarterback back there with all our checks and alignments and disguises. So it's a plethora of things, but at the top of that list for sure is making plays, getting the ball.
Jacob Robinson is off to the NFL, but there's some experience and guys who have been here before trying to vie for that role. What have you seen this offseason from guys like Maury Bamba, Trey Alexander, Evan Johnson?
Yeah. No, all 3 of those guys you mentioned had a great offseason, transformed their bodies. Those guys are looking really good. Jonathan Cabella is another name I would add to that list. Those guys, they worked their butts off this summer, and I think you even saw today out in the first day at camp, a lot of plays made, a lot of PBUs, some interceptions. So those guys are they're really elevating their game and are excited to go make plays. So I'm excited to see them out in come here in about 3.5 weeks and playing in that stadium.
You have touched on the off-season conditioning and strength training program quite a bit. What was different this year, and do you feel like that has improved each and every year since you've been here?
I do. I definitely feel that it has improved each and every year. I think the level of buy-in from our players and just trusting the system, trusting the program and exactly what our coaches are doing and asking us to do as far as not overtraining, focusing on the training that we have. And we started the offseason with a discussion about, okay, what's going to make it different this offseason from last offseason is just our intent, right? We can go through the drills and do everything, but if our intent isn't, at the highest level, we're not going to get any better. But yeah, between, Skylar Main as our sports scientist and Coach Ryan Phillips and his staff, we had an incredible summer and they pushed us really hard. It was difficult. And made us better in every way. And, I feel like we're a faster, healthier, more fluid team.
In which ways do you feel like you've improved personally through that program this offseason?
Yeah, no, I definitely think I'm, more fluid and a quicker athlete. Just feel, like we've done a lot of work for injury prevention, too, exposing our joints and muscles to different angular cuts and things, and that they really focus on. And so I feel like we're in a really good spot, prepped for camp to be really healthy and make it through this season.
A few more moments here with Tanner Wall. That linebacker group that you'll be playing with, they are maybe as talented as BYU's ever had. What is so impressive about Isaiah Glasker, Ciala Acera, Jack Kelly, and that entire group?
I think at its core what it comes down to is all 3 of those guys are just kind of freak athletes. You see them run, you see them lift, you see them do anything, and it's dude, these dudes are different. You watch Jack Kelly squatting, and it seems like the more weight he puts on the bar, the faster he moves it. And then, Glasker's length and his speed and acceleration is, top level. And Ciala, too, is just, you watch him bench, and, he can just throw weight around. So, all those guys physically are kind of freaks, I would label them. But, they play fast, too. when they're out there on the field, they're reacting to what they see very quickly, and their closing speed's great. So, yeah, I love being out there with those guys.
Who would you say is the freakiest athlete on the defense? If you had to pick one, maybe that's hard, but
the freakiest athlete, Jack Kelly. Jack Kelly's probably that guy. Just from how big and how strong he is, to also just like how fast and how his acceleration. It's a pretty crazy combination.
Last thing for you, the defensive line. There's a lot of new faces. There is some experience there. What do you make of the guys competing at D end and then the newcomers at DT?
Yeah, no, I think we got a lot of good transfers, a lot of good new guys as well in. The coaching we have at those positions is really, really good too, between Coach Poha and Coach Anderson and Coach Papinga, and so I'm really excited to see the player development that happens there with those guys. And I think a lot of those guys got a lot stronger this offseason. That's the biggest thing, right? In making a jump at that position from high school to college is, you got to be much bigger and stronger to take on blocks, because you're, playing against different sized people. So, I think a lot of those guys had a great offseason, and I'm excited to see them come out and see who wins that job. Obviously, we had a lot of veterans leave those two rooms, so they've got big shoes to fill. Coming behind Tyler Batty and Blake Mangelson and Isaiah Banya and those kind of guys. But I think they're definitely ready to do that.
Tanner, thanks for the time. Stay healthy this camp.
Thank you so much.
What do you make of the freak of the defense, Jack Kelly?
He definitely is the freak. Jack, I think Isaiah Glasker's the best player on the defense, but Jack is the freakiest. I mean, you just think of things like in the weight room, combine type numbers.
Yep.
He will impress in Indianapolis if that's where the combine is still next year. I don't know where it's going to be, but Jack Kelly is a freak. And look, Tanner Wall is a freak too. Like, you think about that interception against Arizona, like in game with pads, may come up with that athletic pick. Tanner Wall has become a heck of a player. He was a great athlete in high school out in Virginia, out on the East Coast, and he loved BYU, and he preferred walk-on as a wide receiver. I think he's found a home at safety. Remember, it was that Kansas game, the Big 12 opener for BYU in 2023, where he started to settle in, and then he got the injury, like everyone did in that position group that year. But Tanner Wall is a really good football player, and I wouldn't bet against him that he still wins out of that dogfight that is the safety competition that Jay Hill talked about.
Let's take a break. On the other side, let's get to Jay Hill. He had some commentary yesterday. We'll get his thoughts next. All right, we just heard from Tanner Wall. It's Cougar Sports Saturday, breaking down the opening week of fall camp for the 2025 season. Matt Baiamonte and Mitch Harper. Let's hear from Jay Hill, who spoke to the media yesterday. Here was some commentary from the defensive coordinator, Jay Hill.
What's been accomplished so far through the first 3 days on the defensive side?
Oh, a lot of good, a lot of mistakes that we are overcoming, which is always happening in camp the first couple days. I see our players that we're expecting to be really good playing really good right now, so that's a good thing. And I really like the competition right now in the corner group room. Gennaro's done a great job with those guys, having them ready to go. That competition looks good.
Who's competing in that cornerback spot right now, or the key guys?
I like Maury Bamba a lot, Trey Alexander, Evan Johnson, Jonathan Cabella. Those guys have played really good. Marcus McKenzie's done some great things. So the group looks deeper right now, and I like the progression. There's a lot of talent in that group.
You feel like your defense is ahead this time this year than it was a year ago?
In certain spots. We miss a Batty and a Blake Mangelson and Jacob Robinson and some of those guys. So if you're just looking at those three guys, we'd be behind where they're at. John Nelson, those guys have played a lot of football. So we will get those other guys caught up, but in other positions, you look at the linebacker group, and we're ahead of where we were last year on light years. The safety group ahead of where we were last year. So,
how is the defensive line looking? There's a bunch of turnover up front.
Well, Keanu looks great right now. JT looks really good right now. I like the defensive end. Logan Latui's played great. So, bottom line, that group is super deep. There's a lot of youth in that group, but a lot of real talented youth. So, I'm excited to see how the next 20 3 practices go or 22 practices go till the game.
You mentioned Keanu and JT. What's the latest on Justin Kirkland? Is he going to be? I haven't just seen him compete.
Yeah, so he's fighting right now to get back. He's got a dinged knee, and we'll get him back as soon as we can.
Do you think you'll see him back in fall camp?
I got to leave that to the doctors.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Has Cecilia kind of put on the weight that will allow him to be an every down defensive end at this point?
Yeah, I think so. He looks good right now. He's really grown since he's been here since January. And he's got the talent to be that guy for sure.
What about Tanner Wall and Rader on the back end at safety? Are they just kind of picked up where they left off?
Yeah, those guys are playing really good right now. There's an absolute dogfight going on at safety right now between those two that you mentioned. Faletau Satawala and Tommy Prassis look great. So, and then Talon Alfrey's had a great camp so far. So there's a dogfight going on at safety.
How do you juggle that at safety where you've got, veterans that have been proven, but also young, promising talents like Parasis and Satwell? Like, how do you juggle that?
Super hard, because you want to be fair to the veteran guys, but the only thing that's fair is to play the best guy. And so you got to give them opportunities to show who the best guy is, and then may the best guy win come end of fall camp. And I think you'll see all those guys on the field this fall, but, who plays the most is going to be predicated based on how the next couple weeks go.
What's been your impressions of Ciale? Because he was really taking off in spring, and how's he following up being a year removed from the list break?
So I like Ciale a lot right now. He's physical, he's big, he's fast. And then there's others right now. Backer groups, Che has looked really good right now. So I think that group, bottom line, looks good. I think we're progressing in the right way. Coach Enna does such a good job with them. I really like where the backers are at.
How are you going to balance between 3 backers on the field versus 2 backers on the field with all the talent you have at backer?
Well, we're doing our best we can. There's going to be packages where there's 3 linebackers on the field, and then there's going to be packages where there's 2 linebackers on the field. And we're going to have to do a good job of making sure we put players in the best position to be successful for them and for us. And then we'll just balance what that looks like over the next couple weeks.
I saw a new name on the roster this fall, Kafusi Pafoke from Weber. Did you have a connection to him? Is that?
Yeah, we recruited him one of my first years at Weber State. He had graduated up there, wasn't going to play football. We had a need at defensive tackle just to add some depth, and he was a guy I knew about, so we took him. And great kid, great person, super smart, and I'm excited to see how he progresses.
And aside from Keanu and JT, just how do you feel about the depth at D-tackle right now?
It's really good when we get Kirkland back. Right now, until we do, we might be a little thin, but we have so many things we can do. We can play a little more odd front. There's so much we can do if we don't have the depth, but we're not that worried about. We'll figure it out.
There you go. That's BYU defensive coordinator Jay Hill. A lot on his mind and some good stuff, some cause for concern a little bit with the defensive tackles, but all in all, I think there's a lot of optimism about this defense, and, man, the linebackers just getting high praise, and for good reason. We're seeing it show up. Glasker's going to be awesome. We know that. Jack Kelly. Cialia Serra, I thought he had a nice play yesterday. There was a pass that was incomplete, but he was in coverage right there. I'm trying to think who was the intended receiver. It was kind of a pass into the flat near the sideline, but Cialia Serra is going to be really good, and you're seeing why, coming out of spring that, him and Harrison Taggart were 1 and 1A. That was the words of Jay Hill coming out of spring, and then, of course, Taggart leaves for the portal. He's now at Cal, and Serra going to be that starting Mike linebacker, but they got a lot of talent at that linebacker position.
I liked his commentary, too, on Maury Bamba, Trey Alexander, and then Evan Johnson. I did think it was noteworthy in my conversation with Tanner Wall that he was quick to say, put Jonathan Cabea in that mix as well. I think it's easy to think it's a 3-man group for the most part, but Cabea's there. There's good options. Maury Bamba made a great pick in a B-roll piece put out by BYU Football. It's really just the defensive line. And D-tackle, the Kirkland news is a bummer.
It's worrisome a little bit.
It's very much worrisome because if he was there, you feel entirely differently. The ends, they're unknown, but I like the talent. But
Logan
now
Latui's, I think, needs a little more respect too.
Yeah,
now
that's
number
a good
7,
point.
I think he's doing a nice job.
He got a shout out, and he's often forgotten. It's always Clegg and Akana and the young guys. So it's just depth really with that group, and can they develop it?
Let's take a break. The Top 5, the final edition of the Top 5 with myself and Matt Baiamonte here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for three. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Hope all of you are having a fantastic Saturday afternoon, August 2nd. This month, folks, we're going to get some BYU football at the end of the month, August 30th. Cougs will take on Portland State. So 4 weeks away. Can you believe it? Football is here, and it feels oh so good. What doesn't feel as great, though, is our friend Matt Baiamonte, my co-host, running mate for 6 years. We've been holding it down, talking the Cougs for years. It feels like a lifetime, but, man, it went in the blink of an eye. It's been so fast. Matt's going to be going to BYU Broadcasting, so you'll still hear him doing some great things with BYU Broadcasting, but this is going to be the last show here on Cougar Sports Saturday, so that means the last edition with me and Matt on this segment.
The Cougar Sports Saturday Top 5. Top 5. Mitch and Matt clash in a weekly battle of BYU sports knowledge. Here's the Top 5.
I love this segment. The Top 5. This one hurts. The final one. I won't deny it. I will miss competing. Little fact about myself and Mitch. We didn't know each other at all prior to starting the show. I think, what was our first meeting? Up on floor 2 of this building, kind of talking about what the show is going to be, and then quickly thereafter, or was it here?
I think it was, we met the Thursday before our first show.
And then boom.
And so that was like 48 hours before, and then we're doing a show.
And
that was that. And it's funny, when you're talking about this segment, I remember when I got hired here, and it was a couple weeks after when I got settled in, but I was listening to the show on podcast. And look, I always knew about Cougar Sports Saturday. I've been following along since this show was created, I believe, in 2011.
It was created while I was finishing my internship at this station.
Yes, so 2011, right? 2010?
Yep.
I was listening to this segment in particular, Top 5. You and Cleon Wall were doing a Top 5, and it was about, I believe, Yoli Childs. And I remember listening thinking, this guy gets fired up on the Top 5. And again, I didn't know Matt. I didn't know him. We didn't cross paths at all.
I used to love blasting Cleon and Alex in the top 5.
You lived in Utah County. I grew up in Salt Lake County. So it's like we just didn't cross paths. Like typically you grow up in certain areas like, that's my BYU dude. Like you're a BYU guy. Like you run with the BYU guys. So we just never crossed paths in our circles. And, social media when we were growing up wasn't as much of a thing. So you just kind of had so we just didn't cross paths. But now, of course, we've been battling back and forth in the Top 5, and it's been a lot of fun. And the guy that's been creating these Top 5 lists every single week for the past few years, since 2022, is our producer, Nate Slack. He's doing a great job. And Nate, I can say you're going to be with me still, right, Nate?
Yes, I will still be here, Mitch. I will still be here.
Okay, but Nate Slack here in the studio. Nate, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I wasn't going to bring this up, but this morning. So we talk about drinks a bit on this show, with Mountain Dews especially.
I was going to say, you need to clarify that.
We love a drink.
Carbonated water beverages.
We talk about some
yeah. So I had this morning
like
the
that
ice cream sundae A&W drink. Have you guys had that yet?
No.
It's actually really good.
Really?
I just still can't get over the drinks thing, and my mind instantly went to when Jim Rome's like, "Hey, Kalani, we can have some libations together." I'm like, Kalani's like, "What?" Go on, continue. I haven't had that drink.
It's really good.
Where did you get it?
I just got it from Walmart yesterday. I had to pick up some stuff, and I thought, hey, I see this drink, and it's got It's ice cream sundae A&W.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
it tastes really good. This week's Top 5. So there was a few different directions I could go. And I figured since Matt's going to be leaving the show, I should do something a little more up Matt's wheelhouse.
Oh.
And as the special teams guy himself, I thought let's do something special teams related. So this week's Top 5, the most field goals made by a BYU kicker since 2000. And to make it a little tougher, you've got to get it in order.
Okay.
1 to 5.
1 to 5. So it's going to be a little tougher. What is a bummer about this list, or I guess about the top 5 in general, is Mitch leads overall 36 to 34. So if Matt had just won one more,
I had my
been
chances. I had them.
Wow.
I had them.
I got the all-time series lead.
Good for you,
so
Mitch.
Mitch gets the win, just barely, but we'll see if Matt can keep it a little closer. Mitch is going to be starting out this week, though.
So, again, the top 5 field goals by kickers since
in the decade or the century. I mean.
Yeah, since the year 2000.
And you have to call the order 1 to 5.
Correct. So let's go 5 to 1, actually.
Okay. Let's go 5. We'll go Jake Oldroyd 2020 or 2019.
Yeah, you don't. It's going to be as a career, so not in the season.
Just you got to call out which order.
Yeah,
so I don't have to say 5. Can I say 3? Whoever.
Yeah, so I'll say
whoever?
I'll say number 6 for example. Number 6 is going to be Rhett Almond. You don't have to say the number or the year, just the player. So number 6 is Rhett Almond. He's not going to be in the top 5. Number 5 is not Jake Oldroyd.
Okay.
Because Jake Oldroyd is number 2. Oh, let's go. The special teams guy.
Coming in clutch. He's made 50 kicks, and I think towards the end of his career, he got a little bit of a bad rep for just missing kicks. I think that Baylor game especially, but he was really good. 50 kicks, number 2 on the list. I think back to that Green Cleats game against Arizona in 2016. Jake the Make Oldroyd.
Jake was good. I agree with what you said, Nate. I think the way his career sort of ended a little bit maybe put him down a little bit in people's minds, but there was a stretch in his career where he was nearly automatic and had a booming leg. So Jake was a good kicker.
That he was. He was really good, and he's statistically one of the best in BYU history.
And Matt actually stole that one, so we were back to Matt. Chance for a 2-0 lead.
Give me number 1, Mitch Payne.
Yep. Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh, man, that hurts.
Let's go Mitch Payne 3. Okay.
I think that was right, Mitch. Okay.
Mitch Payne, number 3. Mitch Payne, number 3.
Mitch.
Mitch to Mitch. 47 made field goals for Mitch Payne from 2007 to 2010. Another solid guy. It was during one of BYU's golden eras, I feel like. The 2006 to 2008 stretch was awesome. 2009. But Mitch Payne, number 3.
Yeah, just solid. I don't know if any Cougar fan listening has like a distinct Mitch Payne kick moment, but he was solid. He just did his job, and he did it quite well game after game after game.
Unfortunately, my most poignant Mitch Payne memory is when some guy came flying off the edge in the rivalry game up between BYU and Utah. I can't remember. Some famous DB up there. Sorry,
Devontae Christopher. I think
it wasn't Devontae Christopher. It was a defensive back.
Oh, number 27.
Bradley or no?
I think it was a Barton, wasn't it? I thought it was.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but whoever it was came flying off the edge.
Yeah, Devontae Christopher was a wide receiver.
Yeah. Right. This guy was pre-Devontae. It was Brandon Burton.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah,
Brandon flying off the edge, taking away an opportunity to win that rivalry game.
That's right. And that was the Brandon Bradley's knee.
I was going to say that
game.
never should have happened anyway.
You'll have to talk. You'll tell.
I cannot. That's one of my favorite Greg Wrubell calls. I need to talk about that with him.
Yeah. No.
Any moment here. No.
Impossible.
No. That was such a good call because I felt that way in the moment. I'm like, this can't be happening. It was clearly. Anyways.
Throwing on the field stands. Like, what? No. Impossible.
I couldn't believe that. And Mitch was a senior that year, I believe. So to have that taken from him because I can't remember that. I think it was Devin Mahina who whiffed. To use Kalani's word, whiffed on the block. And
they were.
That's what I think about with Mitch Payne.
They were up 16-0, blow the lead, and they lose 17-16. And Anai took his foot off the gas.
Yep.
Just unleash heaps.
Yep.
I haven't let it go. I guess 15 years later. But I digress.
I think it's back to Mitch.
Yes, back to Mitch.
Okay, let's go.
So, quick recap.
Yes.
Top 5 most field goals made by a BYU kicker since 2000.
Let's go. Matt Payne, number 1.
Is that correct? Do we have it? He goes with
Matt Payne, number 1. That's right.
Yes, Matt Payne, number 1 on the list. 54 made kicks for Matt Payne. Talk about a guy who had a lot of memorable moments. I think that Boise State game especially for Matt Payne in 2004.
No question. Chris Carr, I could still hear that hit. I was up in the upper deck by the press box. I was like right in the middle of the upper deck and sitting behind Andy Avalos' dad in Boise in 2004. I could hear those hits. It's cool now tying it back to this year's BYU football team. There's a 38 Payne this year and Logan Payne running back, and now with the departure of Pokaiawa Hunga, maybe we could see, Logan Payne climb the ladder potentially. He's a little bit of a wrecking ball running back like his dad was as a punter. Matt Payne was really good. And he had some moments like any kicker where some big misses, but some great moments too, some great makes. I mean, he was All-American caliber, Matt Payne was. So heck of a kicker for BYU.
Off to Matt. Needed to tie.
So we got a Matt and a Mitch.
We got a Mitch
on this top 5.
I feel like if I
three.
don't get this one right, I'm dead in the water. Number 4, Justin Sorensen.
Woo.
Nice.
Okay.
Justin Sorensen.
All right. Just like old times, man. A lot of these down to the wire.
43 makes for Justin Sorensen in his career, and I was thinking back to his. I remember seeing him in high school at Bingham, and he was just booting kickoffs out at the back of the end zone.
There's so many what ifs in BYU. It's hard to put this in the what if conversation, but what if he didn't suffer those horrible mission injuries? What could have been with Justin Sorensen?
There is
the unicycle. Could he have put that aside for 2 years?
I was going to bring it up. The unicycle. That guy had more hype as a kicker than any kicker BYU's ever landed. That guy was getting hyped. There's been others. I won't just say the name, even though he's not in this top 5, but he was the most hyped kicker, I think, ever. I mean, I remember that 2008 game against Northern Iowa when he, opening kick, touchback. There was the loudest applause because the previous year there was never any touchbacks. Cougar fans were hyped, like, yes, we've got a kicker who can boot it out of the end zone. It was so funny. Justin Sorensen, he had a leg, man. He could boot it when he was healthy.
Mitch for the win.
Okay. For the win. Will Farron. Oh, Will. Big game Bill. Coming through.
35 makes for Will Farron in his career. Obviously, it's still going. He had 24 makes last year. So in his freshman year in 2023, I guess his sophomore, but 11 for 14, so 3 misses. Last year, 24 of 27. And if he made another 24 this year, he would be number 1 on this list.
Wow.
Yeah.
He is a weapon.
This kicker list, it's kind of thin, but Will, I think, could be the best of the group here. I think his leg is good as any BYU kicker I've seen. And there's been some good ones back in the 90s. Potchman, Owen Potchman, Ethan Potchman. There's been really good kickers at BYU, but Farron could be the best to ever do it. That's how good he became last year. He was automatic. I mean, I just don't remember really any kicker in the Kalani era where you go 40 and up and you feel confident. I just remember there were every year, even with Jake, it was always like, okay, what's the range today? Like, okay, we're going to see in pregame warmups. Ed Lamb's like, we're going to watch in pregame warmups. What his legs looking like? It's like, no, Will Farron, this guy can go 50 and up. Like, this guy is automatic, and I think he's going to be a huge weapon. And again, tying it back to this team, what a luxury for the quarterback, whoever it is. Okay, the drive stalls. You could go 56 yards out and boot a field goal because Farron's good enough to do it. Yeah. So big game Bill's huge.
He, I think, clearly of all these guys has the just most stone cold, no pulse, nothing rattles this dude, which I think is something that Jake struggled with, quite frankly. And to have that type of personality in a kicker like Will, who's got the leg, I think the thing that's so cool about Will too is when we saw him battling with Matthias Dunn their first year, I never would have dreamed that Will Ferrin was going to be in the mix to be the best kicker to ever play at BYU.
Not only were there just a bunch of misses, the way that they were all missing, Dunn and Ferrin, it was bad.
They weren't high and crisp and just outside the pole. There were some curves. There were some shanks.
And K-Pop's like, we're going to be fine. I'm like, is K-Pop watching the same kicks as us? Clearly he knew. So
let that be a lesson about media observation too, huh?
It's fair. And look, we always got to remember we're not seeing the full picture. I'd love to see the full picture. I'd love to see the full practice.
Yes.
But, like we do get these small sample sizes, and these coaches know, and Will Ferrin clearly, Kaylee Papinga knew, and Ferrin's been an absolute stud for BYU. And look, out of all these guys on the list too, that game winner against Utah, my oldest son's favorite player on this year's BYU football team is Will Ferrin.
He's got
Because
T-shirts.
of that. Yes, my son owns one of them. And so Will Ferrin is big time. And that kick will live in BYU lore forever. Like, he will always be remembered for that kick that he had against the Utes in Salt Lake last year.
That was a great kick. I do think my favorite Will Ferrin kick to date, though, was that one at the end of the half against Colorado. That thing looked like it was going to go from 70 yards.
Oh, yeah.
That was a rocket.
Gosh, and it sounded so good, too, in the Alamo Dome. You got the indoor venue. It's just boom. Like, I always just go back to that. The sound of that kick was like, that's an NFL leg. And again, we haven't seen that in Kalani's time. Remember, there was always the conversation of, BYU cut this guy, and then he went to Utah, and he became an NFL kicker. Why did you cut him? Why did you let him go? BYU just couldn't get it right at special teams. K-Pop has changed that, turned the fortunes of BYU special teams completely. And talking with K-Pop at the Summer Golf Media Day event, it's like, this system works everywhere. It worked at Boise, it worked at Virginia, it worked at BYU. It's like, the pieces change, but we feel confident it will always be good. Because the big topic this year on special teams is how they replace Keelan Marion. They're confident it's going to work. It's going to work at kicker. I mean, they're going to make it happen at special teams. And Ferrin, too, I can't wait to see what specials they pull out. Last year against UCF, that was an awesome play. I think it got negated with the penalty, but I love the tricks. And what Ferrin is a huge weapon for this team.
Huge weapon. Congrats, Mitch. That one stings. I won't deny it.
Thanks, Matt.
I won't deny it.
I got the win. Matt was filming it.
All right, let's take a break. On the other side, let's get to some Cougar Tales. Stay here, Nate. Back after this.
Cougar Sports Saturday. Final run. Not for the show, but for this iteration, this era. Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. This is Matt's last show. We've loved having Matt on the program. It's been a blast the last 6 years. This is not any one of those salacious... like I think of the national radio host.
This isn't Stephen A. and Max Kellerman.
Yeah, this isn't like Mike and Mike. Where like I've loved working with Matt. It's been an absolute blast and honor, and I've had nothing but positive experience working with Matt. So, but this is his last show here on Cougar Sports Saturday, and it's the last edition of Cougar Tales, and it gets you up to speed on all the news and notes around BYU sports. Nate, what do you got on deck with Cougar Tales?
I think the biggest thing this week was the BYU uniform release.
Let's go.
So I kind of like how they're doing it now, where they release all the uniforms at once instead of weekly before the game. But kind of surprising that there's only one Navy combination this year. It's the Navy helmet, Navy jersey. They don't have the white helmet with the Navy accents. It's pretty heavy on the royal and white, which I'm a fan of, but kind of surprising they're not going with the traditional look. There's no blackouts. There's no special throwbacks like the 1996 jerseys last year. But I'm pretty happy with it. Any thoughts from you guys about the
I'm pretty unhappy with it, actually, for what you just talked about. I need one special throwback of some kind. I need one. And if you don't want to release it, just have it be a blacked-out player, and it's going to be a surprise. Because I do like that. I like what you said, Nate, about knowing in advance, and they clearly want to have, more, what's the right word I'm looking for here, Mitch? They want the fans to understand
uniformity
uniformity. They want the fans to know what to do so that there's a consensus theme on a game day, and I respect that. But I also do love the throwbacks and the one-offs, and I think it would be fun to not know this game, we want you to wear white, but it's going to be a surprise. It's going to be fun. I think players have loved that. And so I feel like that is lacking. They have options. We've seen, since the time we've been doing the show the past 6 years, we've seen blackout. We've seen that crazy throwback that looked like Yale. We had the 96 throwback. We had the painted helmet. Even just like a painted helmet of some kind would be a nice variation. So, and then I also think maybe one more Navy to just completely erase it. I don't love Navy as much as Royal, but
yeah, no.
Sione Moa, who I talked with this week, we'll have to put the interview on the podcast. It's not going to make the cut this show, but he said that Navy's his favorite combo, and he's bummed out to only have one throw in Navy. So, what'd you make of it, Mitch?
I was okay with it, but yeah, I think I just wanted to see maybe more of the traditional looks, like what they're going to wear against East Carolina. They're going to have the white helmet with royal blue decals, white jersey, royal blue pants. I love that look. TCU game, they're going to wear the traditional home with royal blue. But yes, I would also like a one-off special game that you build up. And look, how they did it last year where they announced the 96 jersey in August, it had build-up, and it coincided with the game day T-shirt with that BYU shadow block branding and the 100th anniversary or 100th season, rather, of BYU football. Because I think there's just opportunities to make money, sell merchandise, and Cougar fans want gear and they want variety. And look, I think it is cool though how they've expanded the uniform identity with all the different helmets and just these little tweaks with a face mask color can add all these combinations, and it's fun that way. But I do like that they're just rolling them all out to begin the season rather than here's the mannequin and this is our jersey on a Monday for this week's game. There was some fun to that, but I like just rolling it all out for all 12 weeks as well.
So your favorite look is the East Carolina one?
Yes, the East Carolina game is my favorite. I also do like the West Virginia game, all royal blue face mask. That's the first time they've worn that since the Troy game in 2020. I know they got Chase Roberts in that picture, but that was the Utah Tech game with a gray face mask. They photoshopped that. So Troy 2020 was the last time they wore that look, and I like that one as well.
Going to take another break. News, traffic, and weather coming your way, and then we'll get to some more BYU football. Of course, it's fall camp week.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for three. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte with you. Hope all of you are having a great Saturday. If you missed any part of the show, subscribe to the podcast. Just search Cougar Sports Saturday wherever you get your podcast, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Pocket Casts. It's available anywhere, and also the KSL Sports app. You can get it there, too. This is a exciting time of the year with football season around the corner. We're in the month of August, so we're 4 weeks away until BYU football returns, but it's a bittersweet day today because it's exciting times ahead for Matt Baiamonte. He's going to be moving on to BYU Broadcasting, but so that means it's the last show for Matt and I on these airwaves. We've been doing this, Matt, since June 8th, 2019. It's been one heck of a run, man.
It's been a great run, man. I hope you know how much I've enjoyed these 6 years. For two people who didn't know each other before, you've become like a brother to me. I only have biological sisters, so to have someone we're of the similar age. We both love college football, the video game. We both grew up going to BYU games. And for those listening, you probably know this, but if you don't, this might make you mad. We did both grow up Los Angeles Laker fans as well. So we had a lot of similarities. I think we hit it off quick, and I'm really proud of the work we've done here on the show. I will miss doing the show with you and reacting every single week to the news of BYU. There's been so many memories that have been provided during these 6 years. One that we've already discussed, and this is why football season is so much fun, but one of my core memories of Cougar Sports Saturday will be down in Las Vegas, BYU versus Notre Dame. You and I did a pregame 4 hours before the game began. So we were in Allegiant Stadium before anybody else. And this is, this was the second year back with fans, right? So the previous year they were there. There was the BYU-Arizona game, and that was fun. We didn't do a live pregame for that. But for the Notre Dame game, we did. And we were spectators for Notre Dame's marching band warm-ups on the air.
Yes.
And I was just jacked out of my mind.
Because they're iconic. They're wearing those kilts or skirts. It was very cool.
Maybe I have that video somewhere. Maybe I'll post it on social media after the show. But that was so much fun. Doing the pre-games was a lot of fun, just especially when we were live on site. There was a handful of road games, too, where we did shows prior to the games. Arkansas was a great time. That barbecue was fantastic. Meeting a bunch of fans down there that made the trip to Arkansas, that was a highlight.
Mark Bigelow was there, too. Former BYU basketball player.
That was great. I think, honestly, the biggest highlight, and then I want to get your thoughts too, though, is just the rise of BYU athletics over these 6 years. It's really remarkable. We witnessed during this show, this iteration of the show, I should say, with myself and Mitch Harper, we witnessed uncertainty with the pandemic. We witnessed no fans in the stands. You witnessed cardboard fans in the stands. I think that happened at LaVell Edwards Stadium too. Mm-hmm. No fans, cardboard fans, invite to the Big 12, figuring out how you're going to fit into a power league, and now having so much momentum. The sky's the limit. The number one player in basketball, Kevin Young, comes to town. I just cannot believe how much positive things have happened, and that's just in football and basketball. Track and field, elite. The volleyball program, still good. Women's soccer, competing at the highest levels of the Big 12. It's incredible, the heights that this university has taken athletically. It's something I dreamed about, and I'm sure you and your dad and friends have talked about in some of the dark days of independence. Will it ever come? Will we ever invest? Will we ever get our fair shake? And now we're living in it. And to have witnessed that through the lens of this show, covering it all, here on KSL News Radio and KSL Sports through Cougar Sports Saturday, there will never be another time like this. And I am grateful that you and I came together and got to experience this together through the lens of media and giving it to you guys, BYU fans, because it has been a wild ride, and I think it's just getting started.
Yeah, well said, Matt. It's you think about when we teamed up, BYU was gearing up for the 2019 season. And in that point of, independence, it was heading into year 9 of football independence. And really independence, when you look back on that time now, you go through those seasons and you look at the records and you think, it was good, but there was nothing special right there about that. And BYU football was just kind of wallowing through really mediocre times. And there was still that feeling of, what's Kalani going to become? Remember, going into that year, it was kind of like I want to say do or die, but his back was against the wall. It took until win 6 when they beat an FCS team, Idaho State, for Tom to then reveal that shirt and say extension. And that shirt came from a Cougar fan that was on like the secondary market that was like being hawked in a parking lot. And Tom rocks that thing. I got one of those from that fan. I still have it hung up. I've never worn the thing, but it's still like as a collector's item. But you think about where BYU was then. That was just mediocre product. But through this show, the passion of BYU sports was always there. And it was just Cougar Nation has always been so passionate. And to think that during those times of independence, the WCC, you and I teaming up to see the first year of the Mark Pope era where kind of just mild expectations. No one was expecting much on the heels of a 19-win season in the last year of Dave Rose. It kind of felt like time was expired on Coach Rose, where he was an all-time great, but BYU needed something more. And Mark Pope came in with low expectations, but he took it to just incredible heights in year 1 with basketball. And then it's just continued to climb with hoops. And now Kevin Young is just an absolute rock star. Like, he's just doing incredible things now, and it's going to go to an even higher level. And I think for football, the climb that they've had. We've witnessed 3 10-plus win seasons, BYU in the national conversation in the playoff in 2020, last year having epic wins, the breakthrough in the Big 12, interviews with Big 12 commissioners, and we've done so many great things. The who's who in BYU sports, we've talked to them. We've got to know these people, and it's all the connection between it all is just the passion for Cougar sports, for Cougar Nation. And that's what we've always wanted to show every single week. And look, this show will continue. I'll still be here. There's going to be a new co-host, and that's going to happen. But I think you and I had this unique dynamic where, there's a lot of passion and care, but it also through a perspective of we take this thing very seriously. We don't want to just be telling Cougar fans what they want to hear. We're just going to give you the truth, and then you can decide however you want to interpret that. We just want to give you what we're seeing, what we're hearing, and let you decide whether that's what your feelings are or not. But want to just give you that perspective with a passion that just is unrivaled. And I'm really proud of what we've done. And at times I feel like we've been undervalued and not always appreciated enough. But I think this show has been absolutely fantastic. And I've been so proud of what we've done and proud of you and just. Again, I look at you as a lifelong friend. I think of what Coach Prime said about Kalani Sitake at the Alamo Bowl. He's like, I love him for life. I love you for life, Matt. And it's been a pleasure. We still got this hour, but I'm just proud of what we've done. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. Well said. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Let me throw a random question on you because there's been so much success, but there has been some tough moments covering during the Cougar Sports Saturday. What's been the hardest loss that you have covered, that we have covered here on Cougar Sports Saturday in the 6 years?
I mean, probably maybe it's a knee-jerk reaction, but the hardest loss might be Jake was hard to cover. Just because that's just hard to discuss. That's real life stuff.
Yeah.
That's real life perspective. Lives are altered and changed. That's always difficult, and because sports are supposed to be fun. But from the on-field perspective, I think that's where you were going with that question. I think the most
that's fair though, because that was the biggest scandal's not the right word, but that was the biggest kind of bombshell out of nowhere situation that happened while we had the show together.
Yeah, and I mean that will be like BYU football has been going on for 100 seasons. This is going to be the 101st season this year, and point to me another offseason where you lose QB1, and and it's a jarring
after spring ball, nonetheless.
Yeah, and it's just what was detailed in that civil lawsuit. I know that civil lawsuit's dismissed with prejudice, but like those things are jarring and those are hard to discuss because this platform, like we talk about hard hitting stuff with the sports side, the on field, like even big picture NIL and rev share, but like that stuff's real life where people's lives are impacted every single day and their image. Yep. And that's hard to discuss. And you got to be very delicate with what you say because you don't want to jump to conclusions on those sort of things. So I think that was probably the most challenging. And anytime there's any sort of off the field scandal or arrest, those are always hard. And it's part of the deal and it happens because these are young people and there's going to be mistakes made, but you hope that they can be better on the other side. But that was just challenging, I think, from our perspective, where it's like you want to be balanced, you want to be fair. So I would point to that one maybe being one of the toughest, and then it resulting in a loss for BYU and its program on the field.
One of the toughest for me was last fall in Tempe. Woo, that was tough, losing to Arizona State in that fashion. Some of these Big 12 teams let you onto the field, media members, onto the field towards the end of the game. We were literally, what would you say, 10 yards away from Chase Roberts when he pulled that catch down at the end. Fans running on the field. And that is one of the hard parts about being a little closer is just seeing some of the ungodly comments from fans on the road and just how fans can cross the line sometimes. And I felt like it certainly crossed the line down in Phoenix, in Tempe. That one was difficult. So... But the good news is, during these past 6 years, there's been a lot more good than bad.
There, no question. And I think, another difficult one was the Arkansas game in 2022. We go down that elevator, and BYU just gets crushed by a mediocre Arkansas team. And we go down as a media in the elevator, and Elisa Tuiaki is in the elevator. Talk about awkward.
Yeah.
Because his
defense. I believe that was the second consecutive week that happened, because we also rode the elevator with him against Notre Dame the prior week.
We did, and it was awkward. Now, the Notre Dame one was more on the offense, and Jaron probably shouldn't have played and all that.
Right.
But the Arkansas game was just BYU's defense. It was, okay, it's bottomed out. This is done. Like, you just knew. Like, that look, that era of Tuiaki and the defense, it was officially dead. Like, BYU fans were ready to unplug probably 3 years prior. It was officially done. And then you were right there when he had his exchange with the fan, and Tuiaki eventually went on to apologize to the fan, and even the fan, like, DM'd
I think
me.
Tuiaki actually restrained himself quite
He
well
did.
in that moment.
And even the fan DM'd me. We haven't even talked about this on the air, but the fan DM'd me and said, hey, I was the person that went back and forth with Tuiaki because I wrote a story about that. And he's like, tell coach that I've moved on. Like, I'm not offended. Like, he sent a lengthy DM, and it was just like,
I think he admitted too, like, he was in the wrong, right? Going after.
It was pretty personal, and then Tuiaki responded, but emotions get high, so that's always tough when like, those are always the tough losses. Because last year with Arizona State, it was unfortunate because BYU lost the chance to go to Arlington. But the great thing about sports is you will have another day. BYU's going to have a chance to go to Arlington this year. Those type of losses with Arkansas were like, people are going to lose their jobs. Oklahoma State and Stillwater was tough too, because you knew people are going to lose their jobs. The offensive line coach, Daryl Funk, they were kind of indirectly getting called out. Kalani was calling out the offensive line. Those are tough spots where people's lives, again, are impacted. I guess I kind of get – I don't want to say I get emotional,
side.
But, like, that sort of stuff just – it makes you go, oh, man, like, that guy's got family, and, like, this is how they take care of their family, and they're going to lose that. That's probably the tough side of the job. But, man, the good things about BYU sports are just great. Like, we've seen an AD change. We've seen head basketball coaches twice change. We've seen just some amazing things. BYU getting the ticket to the Big 12. Most programs are saying, oh, we're going to the Big 12. We don't care. For BYU, this was a dream. And clearly, they've utilized this platform to the fullest capabilities. I think the best is still yet to come. I think that's what's exciting, too. So these have been great times. We've seen an incredible run. I mean, look, we've also seen from when we started, NIL wasn't a thing. The portal was barely starting. It was only a year old. Zach Wilson was fighting his way to still be like he was the starter, but it was still like be the legit every single week guy for a full season. He hadn't played a full season yet. So many things and how college sports, BYU sports, have changed over these 6 years. It's truly remarkable. There might not be another more impactful 6 years ever.
I don't think
in
there will
BYU sports. Like, it's just the amount of change we have witnessed and discussed and reacted to and broke down and analyzed on this show has been pretty remarkable when you step back and size it up.
Oh, yeah. Well said, man. Well said. And I'm looking forward to what the next iteration of Cougar Sports Saturday is going to be. I'll always be I'm taking the emeritus title, but I will always be a fan of Cougar Sports Saturday and especially of your work, Mitch. Let's take a break. On the other side, a media outlet says BYU's strength of schedule is bad, really bad. Let's break down that commentary on BYU's football strength of schedule next.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. Just going down memory lane. Sam Farnsworth kicked into the studio and revisiting Matt and I. Matt meeting Sam for the first time out in Knoxville. Because, again, this is Matt's final show. So people are rolling through the studio saying their goodbyes to Matt Baiamonte. Sometimes, too, you kind of think about it and you go, why does it take sometimes a final show to, sometimes we need to appreciate everyone every single week.
Yep.
But no, I think it's been a lot of great times talking BYU sports, and I think there's gonna be a lot of great times talking BYU sports here in the future too, as BYU football gearing up for the football season. 4 weeks from today, Game 1 against Portland State, and CBS Sports is saying BYU has the worst strength of schedule in the Big 12. Are you buying this, Matt?
No, I'm not buying it. I do think it's easier than others, but I think we are discounting a few of the tricky pieces. I do enjoy these lists because it's interesting to nitpick them, but this is what CBS Sports has to say. Road games against Iowa State and Texas Tech are likely losses, but BYU could be favored in nearly every other game, even without consistency at quarterback. And I would just say, one, the rivalry game's always hard. I know you're at home, but that's always hard.
Yeah.
Utah was not a good football team last year, and they probably should have won that game.
Yep.
So that one's always hard. West Virginia really scares me. I think West Virginia is very good. It works in BYU's favor that it's a short week and it's a late game. That's going to be hard for West Virginia, but I believe they will be much improved. Rich Rod is a good coach. And then there's other games late in the year, too, where you just look at it and you say, TCU, yeah, that's at home, but if they realize their potential, they have a really good quarterback, that could be a incredibly difficult game. So, yeah, maybe they miss out on an Arizona State, and that helps, and they miss out on a Baylor, and that helps, but Texas Tech on the road, hard. And some of the home games, as I mentioned, difficult. So I don't think it's the worst strength of schedule in the league.
I don't either, and I compare this. I look at Utah's schedule. Utah's got some teams that are viewed in high regard going into the season. But one thing about Utah's schedule that's very interesting, and I just pointed out because there's just not many teams that have this set up like the Utes. They go on the road at the end of September at West Virginia. That's tough. 2 time zones. Those are always tricky. The following week, they have a bye. And then they have 4 straight weeks where they are in the state of Utah, which also includes a game at BYU, and then they have a bye. They have 6 straight weeks in a conference where it's a national conference that spans 3 or 4 time zones, depending on the time of season, where they are just home in the middle of the year. That's very nice. BYU does not have that luxury. Like BYU's got a week 3 bye that you can kind of say now maybe helps with the new quarterback. You get 4 weeks to gear up for Big 12 play with this new QB. But there's some kind of quirks to BYU's schedule where I think it might be much tougher at season's end than we think. Last year, we all thought it was going to be one of the toughest schedules in the Big 12, and then it ended up being more middle of the pack, near the bottom. I think this one's going to be tougher than people think.
Yeah, I think so too. And look, if it is the softest strength of schedule,
great.
Sign me up. I don't think that's a negative.
You can probably get to 10. If it's truly the worst schedule in the Big 12, 9 and 10 wins could definitely be in play.
The league is so even across the board, though, that this isn't a case where you're missing out on 2 perennial powers, and it's like, who knows? This could end up being one of the harder schedules.
Exactly, and that's the tricky thing about the Big 12 Conference. If your easiest game is UCF, it's a pretty tough schedule. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll go through some more memory lanes with me and Matt here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for 3. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
You know, on this show that we value the history, whether it's BYU sports, just nostalgia, Cougar Sports Saturday history. We respect the history, and one of the great hosts that's been on this program, you can hear him these days on our sibling station, the KSL Sports Zone, JJ and Alex, the man that hired Matt Baiamonte. Alex Kirry joins us on Cougar Sports Saturday. How you doing, Alex?
A couple of my favorite people on the planet. How are you guys? How's Matt doing? Is he like in the tank right now?
His final ride, Alex. I'm glad that we got you on board for Matt's final ride, man. It's been quite the journey.
Well, I got a text from him. I'm kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, it might have looked like I just totally ignored you, Matt, because I was like trying to ice you out because I hate that you're leaving. But I do hate that you're leaving. But you know that we love the heck out of you, man, and we've always loved what you've done, and so you going on to I'd just say bluer pastures. I wouldn't even say greener. It's just a touch bluer than this program down at BYU Broadcasting, my guy. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it's so good to talk to you, man. I think back to the first couple of shows we did back in 2019 where we were bringing Mitch on board, and it was just, I don't think I've expressed it enough, but I was always grateful for you taking a chance on me, and it's been a thrill working at the station with all you guys.
No, yeah, I mean, look, KSL doesn't take chances on people, man. I think what it is we just try to find the best, and I think we did. I think it was a really good fit, and you guys have taken the show to a new level, and obviously there's a lot still left to go, but the good news is we get to see you around, and we get to maybe some insider info. Unless you're going to do the BYU thing, lock us out, bro.
That's going to cost. I'm going to start a Patreon and no, I'm just kidding.
I love it.
Hey, what do you make of this quarterback battle since we have you? Like, are you rooting for a certain guy, or which way do you think it'll go?
I don't know what to think. When you see stuff pop up on social media, you're like, what are you trying to tell me right now? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's as deep as that. I think they just try to get fans excited about any of the guys. And I try to help people understand too. They're like, he's looking good in camp. I'm all, you mean that one pass that they showed us on social media? Yeah, you're going to see only good passes typically, like unless they're trying to like highlight a DB, getting a pick or something. But I don't know. I've seen enough on Bachmeier. I'm excited for him, but I just don't know if you want him right now. I don't know if you want to throw him into that right now. But I do love that A-Rod loves how smart he is, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's a complicated offense, and he's already got it down, right? I don't know what to make of it. So I'm glad they're keeping it under their hat because, I think getting too far ahead of it and thinking this guy's doing awesome and this guy's not doing great, I think every day changes at camp. You guys know how it is. And one day at camp, a guy will be killer. Another day they'll stink it up, and who knows? So I think it's a bunch of guys who all lack experience. And if it's Hillstead, fine. If it's Bourget, that's one guy I don't hear much about, right? Am I wrong that it seems like we're hearing a lot about Hillstead and kind of some about, some vibe on Bear and then just not a lot of Bourget. So I don't even know what to think about him, but I'm not sure what to make of it. And I'm okay with it right now because you don't have to have all the answers. You got 20 something extra days of camp left. And then you got Portland State to figure it out. But man, it's a weird spot to be in.
Don't you think, though, Alex, that this team's got enough answers around that QB that no matter who it is, they can still be pretty good this season, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, last year at this time, was there one running back who was healthy, that you were feeling good about? I mean, like LJ being healthy, I think Sonny Moa obviously being healthy. I mean, those guys, that's a massive 1-2 punch. The problem is I know that people were bummed out by the Haunga news, and I don't know what the details are except for that he's not with the program anymore. And I think that's a loss, but you don't have to have a 3 or 4 deep running back room to feel good. I mean, in BYU's history, you've gone to those guys, but I think this is the type of season that they want to build up LJ. It's a good time to do it and to get him 24 touches a game and to see what he can do. I'm excited about the wide receiver core. I think Tiger Bachmeier doesn't get enough love, right? When you start talking about all the people and how deep this room can be, you're returning maybe the best wide receiver in the whole conference. If you want to give Chase Roberts that much love, if they really feed him the ball, he can be a 1,000-yard receiver easy. So question mark at tight end still, obviously, but lots of names in there. What are there, 7 guys on the tight end chart? So I think they have a ton of firepower. Just whether or not you can get it loaded up right in the rifle with the right quarterback, and then the defense speaks for itself. But you can have a really good defense, and it'll wear down on them if the offense doesn't produce. Look at Utah last year; they got the number 2 defense in the whole conference, but it just felt like they were down. Even though you would have never thought that because the defense felt like they were just trying to pick up a bunch of pieces all the time. But this is the time of year where we speculate way too much and make assumptions way too much, and I love every minute of it.
Me too. How many losses or wins did you discredit from your win-loss total prediction when it was determined that Jake would be leaving the program, or did it not? Or did it not matter much?
I don't know. And I'm not one of those guys, Matt, who wants to go, he actually wasn't that good, because you got a lot of people who showed up and did that, right? You go, oh, no, he wasn't good at all. I don't even think he was that good. I think we all knew what Jake's strengths and weaknesses were, but they were way more strengths last year than they were the weaknesses that we had seen the 4 games the year prior, right? So the thing that he did really well was that he learned how to, it's an actual skill too. He learned how to win close games. And those close games were the difference of an 11-win season versus a 7-win season. I would lop off a couple more from the maybe 10 games if you had in your head. I think a 10-game win or a 10-win season would have been great, and you're in the conversation for a Big 12 championship discussion. If we're going to lop off losses, I think you take a couple away just off of experience. And because winning close games is a skill, and you're going to have close games, and it might take a minute for a young guy who at the end of the year would win a close game, but maybe at the beginning wouldn't in conference play. So I'm going to set it at 7.5, 8.
Talk with former Cougar Sports Saturday host Alex Kirry. He's currently on JJ and Alex weekdays on the KSL Sports Zone. We're going to be hosting 1st and 12 this year again too, Alex. So it's going to be a busy year for us. I just wanted to ask you some of your favorite memories with Matt over the years, because we're kind of going down memory lane today. Was in Matt's final show.
Well, you guys know one of the funnest things we get to do, and we don't get to do it as often together, but hitting the road and when we have those dinners after work, or if we're in the hotel room just shooting the poo and just absolutely when it's loose like that, it's so much fun. And Matt's a heck of a guy to have around. Everybody, there's not a lot. We share a ton of laughs, right? That's our whole thing. I just try to have a freaking good time anywhere I'm at. So it's always been fun. There's never been bad vibes. I'm trying to think of Matt. We went on that Tennessee trip all together.
Yeah,
didn't we?
Absolutely. Rocky Top.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, we go to Peyton Manning's old stomping grounds with that crappy diner where Sam Farnsworth. It was like the southern sandwich shop version of the Soup Nazi. He's in there, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll have a bologna or whatever." And the guy's like, "You tell me what bread you want first, son." And we're all walking down, going, "I don't even know who this guy is. We're not associated with him." Awesome times hitting the road, and then. Lots of hours sitting next to each other, obviously, at the BYU football games. Maybe you can arrange the seating so you and Mitch and I can actually sit right by each other. We're not separated.
I'll see if I can throw a word in.
Yeah, look, we're not separated by, some riffraff. It's up there I'm always like, I don't know who these people are. They're making jokes over here. I don't know who these guys are. Put me over with Mitch and Matt. They're the most serious dudes up there. Get me in there.
Gus's Good Times Deli in Knoxville. Gus's Good Times Deli was the spot.
That's what it is. And Gus was so pissed at Sam Farnsworth from TV. He just did not have the system down. And we were mortified that we weren't going to get our patty melts just because Sam was ordering so terribly. So yeah,
it's been a great run. We've had so much fun, so many laughs, and it's I credit a lot with you, Alex, kind of bringing me and Matt together, because again, we were talking about Matt and I never knew each other, and you kind of saw something in us, so we wanted to thank you.
You guys saved my butt, man. It was almost going on 9 years of 6 days a week, and I was like, I'm going to get divorced if I can't freaking have a Saturday back, in my life. So you guys bailed me out. I thank you guys. And honestly, you guys are way better than Dave Noriega and I ever were. So you guys are doing an awesome job, and Matt's going to continue. And Mitch, I don't know what it is that you do at the station. I can't really remember all the time, but you'll be fine. I think you'll be fine.
That's right. Well, Alex, we know you're busy and you're on traveling, but thanks for carving out some time for us, and thanks again.
Yeah, Matt, love you, brother. Good luck, and we'll all be chatting together on Saturdays again. So we'll see you again, man.
Absolutely, love you too, Alex. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
That's Alex Kirry, host of JJ and Alex on the KSL Sports Zone and emeritus Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio. Let's take a break. Final segment with me and Matt, Cougar Sports Saturday. It's coming to a close. Final segment next.
Cougar Sports Saturday, August 2nd, 2025. Matt Baiamonte and Mitch Harper. Next week it'll be Mitch Harper until you guys find another co-host. This is my last show. I'm going to be heading down south. I'll be doing some work with BYU Broadcasting, being a part of the game day broadcast with Greg Wrubell, Jason Shepard, all those guys down at BYU Broadcasting. What an honor to have been considered for that. I'm really looking forward to it, but as we've talked throughout the show, it is certainly bittersweet to leave this show. So it's been a lot of fun. We've had, how long's Nate Slack's been with us now? For
3 years.
I can't believe it's been 3 years already, Nate. I can't believe it. It feels like it was a year ago.
Yeah, 3 years. And I think back to the first time I met you guys was at the first fall camp in 2019. And I show up to practice, and I'm wearing like a polo shirt tucked into my pants because I didn't know what to wear to practice. But I was like, hey, those guys work for KSL. That's super cool. But yeah, 6 years I've known you guys, and 3 years on the show.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, Matt. And Nate doing the great things that he does as the producer of this program. He put together this reel for you, Matt, and on the final show for Matt Baiamonte here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
We have our newest member of the KSL sports team, the BYU guy, Mitch Harper. We're glad to have you, Mitch.
Oh, it is a huge honor. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM. Happy to be here, Matt. A new era of Cougar Sports Saturday coming to you. Happy to be part of this new era with you, Matt. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Max Hall. Let's go! Max, I love you, Max! Yes!
65.
Yes! I was at that Moly game. That call still haunts me from time to time. Moly!
My third bold prediction, and it's one I made last year and failed on, but there's a reason I'm picking it again, and that is no season-ending injuries in fall camp. And you touched on the work that Matt Bushman put in. We have heard the work that they put in during the pandemic and different avenues that they've went to.
A few moments later.
Just a moment ago on Matt Bushman's social media accounts, season-ending lower leg injury.
Oh! My God! Oh! I have given him this game!
You gave that to me. Thank you, Mitch.
No!
Wow.
I gave you that game, Matt.
You really did. Thank you. You got everything but the name.
Oh, that's going to haunt me now.
No, that is ridiculous. Look, stop right there. I don't want to hear another word. Hey, listen to me, Cougar Nation. I'm the guy who's been at all the recent games. Mitch over here has been down in Shreveport. He's been in Boise. Where else have you been during these games? Look, you have not been around. I was at this game last year. I feel confident, as confident as you can, in a three-quarterback battle on July 12th, 2025 to say Matt Baiamonte is staking his claim. I am putting my flag down on Trayson Bourget Island as the starting quarterback for 2025. Wow. Amazing, Nate. Thank you so much. That was, emotional again. How much this has meant to me, guys. I love you both. Thank you so much for the friendship. It's not goodbye because I will see you guys and we will remain friends. We may need to rename the group text, but I still want to be active in that thing. You guys mean the world to me. I'll do anything for you. If you ever need anything, reach out to me. Love this show. Love what we built. Carry on the torch, guys.
Yeah, it's been awesome, Matt. I don't get very emotional much, but it's been so much fun, because BYU sports mean a lot in my life, and sharing that with people means the world to me. And I value my family, and I've people that I grow close to. I have a lot of respect for people that do things the right way. That are just class acts in all facets. And man, I just have a lot of respect for you, Matt. And man, I love connecting with people that just care deeply about things. And when you have a bond through BYU sports, like, it's just special. And it's hard to describe for people that if you know, you know. And I think a lot of our listeners get that, and they have deep friendships. And I think that's what made this show so special, is it was like how they talk with their friends. And just deeply grateful for you guys, Nate. And I know you and I are going to continue on, but Matt, we're so proud of you, man. And we're gonna miss you like crazy, and it's sad to see you go. But nothing but high praise for you, man. We care about you a lot.
Thank you, Mitch. I love both of you guys a lot, and those very kind words, Mitch. I really appreciate them. I think you felt the same way when we came into this over 6 years ago. Nervous, excited, because we were both younger guys, and I knew that you were a massive BYU fan and you had great coverage, but you just never know, right? And getting paired with a new person, there's hesitation there. I never could have dreamt of what this could have become, because I like you said earlier, lifelong friend. We've had so much laughter, so much good times. And that's, I think, the hardest part is, who knows the future? No one knows the future, right? And we probably weren't going to do this show until we were 75 years old. But what's hard is just not going to be able to have the off-air conversations, not to be able to joke, even like we did in the top 5 where we're pulling out crazy references. My next guest was going to be Jared McLaughlin, for heaven's sakes. I was going to get the buzzer. It was going to be painful. But there is really something special about being able to communicate that passion for BYU sports. You can't fake that. And I think that's what makes you one of the most respected names in BYU sports, and why a lot of fans respect what you have to say, because you are coming from a place of passion and fandom. You can relate to them on a level that maybe some other people can't, because they didn't grow up in it, or they don't have the lens of what the fan wants. And that's why I've loved working with you, is because that's how I've wanted a medium like that. And to have the professionalism mixed with the fandom, it's unique, man. Of course, we're still going to be friends, and I'm going to follow you, but I think you do such great work, and we're lucky to have you in the world of BYU.
Thanks, Matt. That means the world. Like, it's been really a blast, because growing up as a kid, and I've had friends that I talk to BYU sports with.
Yes.
And, but, I like having deep, just next level conversations. That's what I just always love. And, moments to talk with coaches and players and get to know these guys and form those relationships, and do that with people that just genuinely care. And I think we've always done this show with the perspective that we're not going to go with an agenda. We want to just cover BYU sports and do it at the highest levels. And it's just been an absolute blast. And, I respect you, and I'll be following your work closely. As we will be following everything, and nothing but love, man. It's been love you and love you for life. I love that line from Coach Prime, and that applies here. Yep. And it's been an honor, and I just can't believe it's been 6 years. Time goes by too fast, but we're excited for the next chapter for everyone involved. But we're just happy for you, and hope nothing but the best for you, your family. And that's the thing too, is like we've grown as fathers, and and our relationships with our, like, we have grown as men on this show, and that's been pretty awesome. And love. I
came to the show a newly married man, and now I have 2 kids and been married a lot longer, which is great. And I just want to say to you, Nate, really quick, you were a much needed breath of fresh air for me and Mitch when you came in here, man. We needed just a different perspective, a different take. And you having such a rich background in BYU fandom, you've been a fantastic producer. Whatever you want to do, I know you're going to still be on the show, but whatever you want to do next, I wish you all the best, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
For Nate Slack, Mitch Harper, myself, Matt Baiamonte, best of luck, Matt. We love you, man. This has been Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio.